We have just released our quarterly economic scorecard on the performance of the states. The scorecard shows that demand conditions are not only firming across the states, but are also coming more closely together as the drivers of growth rebalance away from public towards private sources. A key takeout from the recent flow of data is that this rebalancing is now on a firmer footing. For example, in New South Wales, the private sector has gone from contributing around half of the growth in state demand 1 year ago to almost 80% today. There are similar trends in Western Australia, South Australia and Queensland. This rebalancing has been supported by a pickup in housing construction and consumer spending. Now, to be sure, some of the recent strength we've seen in consumer spending has been due to one-offs, such as discounting and the unwinding of state-based electricity rebates, particularly in Western Australia and Queensland. But despite this, it's clearer that the underlying momentum has firmed and the outlook is brighter. Going forward, we think this rebalancing will be supported by a new wave of renewable energy investment projects. Recent Treasury climate change modelling shows that investment in renewables could rival the mining investment boom of the 2000s, when we saw mining investment go from 2% of GDP to a record high of 9% of GDP. This is equivalent to an annual increase in investment of more than 200 billion in today's dollars. We estimate that the pipeline of renewable projects currently sits at a record high of around 240 billion, with projects mainly located along the east coast of Australia in New South Wales, Queensland and Victoria. If a conservative share of these projects under considerations are approved, we could see investment in utilities increase to a record share of the economy in the next few years, which is consistent with the Treasury modelling. While the rebalancing is firming, labour market conditions look to be decoupling. Employment growth has slowed the most in those states further along their rebalancing journey. For example, annual employment growth is running at 0.5% in New South Wales, which is the slowest growth since May 2017 outside of COVID. In Western Australia, where the private sector has gone from driving 10% to 70% of growth in state final demand over the past year, we have seen annual employment growth slow to 1.2%, which is well below population growth of above 2%. This is a risk we have previously flagged. Public spending on social services programs such as the NDIS is much more jobs rich compared to private demand. Therefore, as private demand picks up, labour market conditions could decouple and ease. But labour supply is providing a partial offset. In the states where employment growth has eased the most, so too have participation rates, masking some of this underlying softness. We think this dynamic of firming private demand, softening employment growth and participation rates ticking lower is a preview of what's to come as the broader economy rebalances. As such, we expect the Reserve Bank will need to respond to ensure it achieves its dual mandate of full employment and price stability and cut rates again in November this year.
The content of this recording is informational and of general nature only and is not intended to constitute a research report or reflect any recommendation or financial advice. It has been prepared without taking into account your objectives, financial situation or needs, and investment decisions should not be based on it. You should obtain your own independent advice before proceeding with any investment decision. Whilst every effort has been taken to ensure that the contents are correct and any opinions, forecasts, conclusions are reasonably held based on information at the date of recording, Westpac does not make any representation or warranty as to the accuracy or completeness of the statements or information contained in this recording, and any liability therefore is expressly disclaimed to the extent permitted by law. None of the material included in this recording should be copied, published or reproduced in whole or in part without the prior written permission of Westpac.